everyone, this is Ryan with Stock Investing and Trading 101. Today I'm making kind of a different video. I'm trying to incorporate my webcam and add just a little more quality to the videos I'm making. But today's topic that we're going to be talking about is comparing M1 Finance versus Stash Invest. These are both investing platforms. M1 Finance has been around for quite a while. Stash has been out for a few years now, and it's performing pretty well. It's definitely two platforms that I personally use and that I definitely like to invest in. But today we're going to compare the main differences and then give kind of a evaluation of which one you might want to use. I remember when I was first starting investing and didn't have any brokerage accounts, picking the actual brokerage that I was going to use was a really tough choice for me, and I ended up going through quite a bit of different brokerages. I went through Betterment, I did Lending Club, which is a little bit different. I tried Robinhood, Stash, M1 Finance, and currently I'm still using Robinhood, Stash, M1 Finance, and Webull. But each one has their own individual benefits, and let's jump into those benefits. So first, here with M1 Finance, one of the best and key things is that they have absolutely zero fees. So while looking at Stash has a $1 monthly fee for a personal portfolio, and if you want to make a retirement portfolio, that's going to be a $2 fee as well, unless you are 25 years or younger, in which the fee is waived while you're less than 25 years or less. But looking at the first point here about the fees, M1 Finance definitely takes the cake with absolutely zero fees, no hidden fees, nothing like that. Moving on, M1 Finance also has a margin where you can be allowed to borrow on margin and pay back interest on that. And Stash doesn't really have any margin or anything like that, which some people don't like margin, some people do like margin, but just looking at it from a neutral point of view, M1 Finance does have the ability to get margin, and Stash does not. So now looking at Stash, one of the key benefits for them is, first of all, you can start an account with as little as $5. While looking at M1 Finance, to start a portfolio, you have to have at least $100 to open this portfolio. While investing with Stash, you can start with as little as $5. But if you're only starting with $5, the $1 monthly fee is like 20% of your investment. So for sure in the beginning with Stash, the $1 fee can be kind of off-putting. Once you get more than maybe like $1,000 or something in the portfolio, or 500 something, then the $1 fee is kind of small in the scheme of things. But if you only have, you know, 50 bucks in your portfolio, you know, $1 is like 2% of that. So that $1 fee can, you know, it's only $1, but at the same time, it depends on how much value you have in your portfolio. But when looking at Stash, one of the main things that I like, one of the best things, is that you can invest $5 at a time into any of their pre-selected companies. So this is another point that I need to make, is that while you're investing with Stash, they have pre-selected ETFs and stocks that you can choose to invest in, and they don't have anything that you can invest in besides their predetermined selections. So there is quite a few stocks and ETFs that aren't available at all onto Stash, and M1 Finance has pretty much all of the stocks and the ETFs that are on the NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange, the BATS exchange, and they also have lower fees on M1 Finance, and by fees I mean expense ratios on their ETFs. So for anyone who doesn't know, an expense ratio is just pretty much the amount that to invest in this ETF they charge a management fee, and so on M1 Finance they have as low as 0.04% with their Vanguard ETFs. Vanguard has very cheap ETFs, and with Stash they have an average expense ratio of, I believe, 0.34%, which isn't extremely high, but it is higher than the small 0.04 of M1 Finance. So with these $5 investments on Stash, we can look through of everything they offer, and they do have a very good selection of stocks. They have many strong stocks, but there is a few stocks such as Realty Income that they're missing, different types of S&P 500 ETFs. They only have one, they don't have the Vanguard ones, and that's one of the main things that I don't like, is that the smaller selection. But at the same time, you can choose to invest only $5 in a specific stock at a time. So let's say I want to invest in 3M because it's been beaten up, you know, it's got a good valuation right now, and I want to invest a lot into 3M. If you wanted to do that through M1 Finance, it's a little bit more difficult. So with M1 Finance, you can make a number of different portfolios. I'm not sure if there's a limit onto it, but when looking at these portfolios here, the way that you invest is, first of all, you build a portfolio. So you hand pick the stocks or the ETFs that you want in this certain portfolio, like I have here, all of these different stocks. And then you also pick the weight that you want for each one of these stocks. So let's say you pick 25 stocks. You want each stock in the portfolio to be equal, so each stock would be at 4%. So the thing is, when you go to invest in this portfolio, let's say you had a very diverse portfolio with 25 different stocks at 4% each, and let's say there was like 5 stocks or something that you wanted to invest in because they got a great valuation, they've been beaten down, and it's just a good time to buy, right? If you're gonna buy on M1 Finance, instead of being able to buy the specific stocks like on 3M, you could just go, or on Stash, you can just go buy 3M, and then you could buy, Altria or whatever you're looking at that's beaten down. When investing in Stash, or on M1 Finance, you have to invest in your portfolio as a whole. So for example, looking at my portfolio here, this is my taxable M1 Finance portfolio. If I wanted to invest $100 into McDonald's right now, I wouldn't really have that option unless I built a whole new portfolio with just McDonald's as 100% of the portfolio. Because right now, if I was going to invest $100 into this portfolio, it would invest some of it into each one of these positions until it hit its target price. So for this, my target price is 3%, and for a lot of these, it's 3%. So if I wanted to buy, it would buy a little bit of each one of these positions instead of just the one that I want. So that's one of the main downsides of M1 Finance, is that it's kind of harder to buy into individual stocks. And on that same note, whereas if you were to build a whole new portfolio, so let's say I went and built a new portfolio just for the one stock that I wanted, I would have to start with at least $100 to invest in that portfolio. So looking at it, Stash has like lower minimums and a lower cost to entry, because you can invest in any stock that they have for as low as $5. With M1 Finance, it's a little bit harder to invest in individual stocks, but they do have a wider selection, lower fees, and actually no fees. And on top of that, you can just get more of a variety of stocks, and they also have different things where they build their own funds, and they have a lot of other ETF type of things that you can invest in. So when looking at both of these, both of them offer fractional shares, which is a good thing. I'm a fan of fractional shares. There's a lot of stocks that are expensive, or to some that they're expensive and hard to get into. So if you can buy fractional shares, it really makes the investing a lot easier. Also, they're both SIPC insured. They have auto deposit features. So for both of these, you can tell it to invest $20 out of your bank account every week, or every Friday, or however you want it to do that. They also both offer dividend reinvesting, but how it's done is different. So when looking at Stash, they only have a DRIP, or dividend reinvestment plan, on their retirement accounts. But on their retirement accounts, it's a true DRIP. As soon as you get the dividend, it invests it right back into the stock that paid from it. On their personal portfolios, they do not offer a dividend reinvestment plan. And on M1 Finance, they have a dividend reinvestment type of thing, but the only thing that I've found